Welcome back to ET with GOTB. This is part 2 of our WSL roundup. The season is over. Not quite, almost. Let's get into it. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophie.
This is Extra Time with Girls in the Ball. Yes, as we have gone through, you may have seen already, part 1 of our wrap-up where we picked out 6 teams at random from the hat. And you gave us a little bit of a lowdown of how you think they did, who was their MVP, who was maybe an underrated player that didn't get shouted about enough, maybe their high points and their low points as well. We're going to run through the second 6, and then we might have a very quick chat about tomorrow's playoff, very first playoff between 12th place Leicester in WSL and 3rd place Charlton in WSL 2 to see who will take that final spot in the WSL next season. So very exciting. We're both working it. It's the first one as well. So something that's going to continue into next season in a slightly different format, if I'm right in saying, as in it'll be 11th versus 2nd.
Yes.
Yes, so we'll get an idea of what that's going to look like. Before we get into that, though, this is your weekly reminder to make sure you subscribe wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening to this podcast. Leave us a comment, leave us a review. Let us know how you think your team did this season. Who was their MVP? Who didn't get talked about enough? It's always difficult, especially we did our team of the week, the team of the season. It's so hard because you can only pick one player in every position.
It's also fine margins and there's a handful of players that probably could all be 100%.
It's probably like you could put multiple teams this season, to be totally honest. Also, make sure you're following us across all of our socials as well. We're at Girls in the Ball. That way you will see things like our team of the week. We haven't discussed it on the pod. We're going to lure you over to some of our other channels where you can see it. And let us know who will be in your team of the season. Always happy to have a chat and a debate about it. Just don't be nasty. Okay, let's crack on because we've got a busy day today. So we've got a media day with Brighton. So who's going to be team number 7 that we're going to chat about, please?
Chelsea.
Oh, look at the jumper I'm wearing. I swear that wasn't even... Can you see it? It wasn't even planned. That was just pure coinky-dink. Right, write down Chelsea as team number 7. Let's run through their season. They finished 3rd after finishing 1st last season. You might remember their incredible unbeaten season under Sonia Pastor, the domestic treble as well. Not quite the same this season. They were 6 points off the top. Last season they were top by 12 points, which is crazy. So 49 points this season compared to last season's 60, 44 goals for, 20 against. MVP for Chelsea.
Ooh.
Difficult, actually.
That's a tricky one. Probably go Philip Berman.
Okay.
I know she had to be patient at the beginning of the season for a chance, but I think, first year in the league, obviously she was signed 2 years ago, but went back and had some time on loan, but I think she's really come to the fore this season and played 2 positions very well, kind of left back or centre back as well, left-sided centre back. Brilliant left foot. Mm-hmm. And I think if this is just like the lower benchmark of what she can do, I'm very excited to see what she can come up with in the next few years.
Agreed. I think the reason it's difficult with Chelsea is that there's been players who have had injuries and been in and out of form and then have really come into form. Lauren James, a great example of players really come into form. Sam Kerr, back from her injury, coming into form towards the end of the season, like incredibly so. Erin Cuthbert, in the midfield. You look at like an Alyssa Thompson, what a first season she's had. Quite tricky actually to pick just the one. And that was the thing I think maybe Chelsea struggled with a bit, is that there's been that little bit of rotation.
Well, but also I don't think a lot of players have been on form as part of the
for the full
season.
Yes.
So kind of narrows down your options a bit. I think, as you said, Thompson is a really good shout. I think she's hit the ground running in this league, which isn't always easy to do at her age when you're coming over from America, when you're leaving home. Like she's literally, all of her setup was based around her family in LA.
Yeah.
So she's had to deal with all of that. So I think that's commendable. Yeah.
Just a plug, you did a great exclusive interview for The Guardian with her. It's worth having a read a little while back.
Chief cheerleader here.
Yeah. Okay, can you give me an underrated player?
Ooh.
You could have gone Philip Berman for that, because I feel like she's a little bit underrated.
No, she just won the Rising Star Award.
That's true.
I don't think she's underrated. I'm going to go, and I don't think she's necessarily underrated by me or by, fans, but it did baffle me that Shirka Niskanen spent so long in and out of the lineup. I think she is what I call a racehorse of a player. She can play in any position.
Swiss Army knife.
She
Rolls Royce.
and is very, very good at all of it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, especially when Chelsea's midfield wasn't particularly firing. I think Kira Walsh has been in and out of form. Erin Cuthbert has not had her best season. Vika Captain has not had her best season either. I was a bit surprised that she didn't get more opportunities early on to show what she could do, because I think she's quality.
Give me we'll go season low first.
Ooh.
It's got to be the league.
Yeah.
And that
Man City game.
Yeah.
Losing like that by that scoreline was humbling, I think. And a real wake-up call to everyone that things weren't quite going well. I think it's a really interesting thing when you look at Chelsea's season. I do think a new manager bounce comes in, but eventually, when you're overturning a dynasty, as it were, and kind of taking it over from Emma Hayes, it's really, really hard. And that first year, you might have their kind of, I think people have written about it, like that continuation for a little bit, and then you have the freshness of new ideas. But when you're starting to try and regenerate a team, and shift out some of maybe the old guard as well, bring in some new players and try and mould them the style that you want them to be playing in, it's always hard, and it's always harder in the second season, I think.
Yeah, because you're not like, you've come in, you've got pretty much the same squad, but then you've to then manage your second season through a transition. It's like just a double whammy, isn't it, of like difficulties that maybe enough credit hasn't been given to that. And I also think like dynasties are really hard to run forever. I mean, the USA national team was the best team in the world for a very, very long time. They're still obviously right up there, don't get me wrong. But, it's eventually people are eventually going to catch up and figure things out.
Manchester United under Alex Ferguson, like one of those teams that, kind of won it all, was so much at the top for so long. And then as soon as he left, it's taken them still a little while to recover themselves. It's been more than a little while for them. I'm not saying that's going to be what it's like for Chelsea. But I think like that regeneration, every team has to regenerate at some point. You're not going to keep the same players who won it all forever. And so you have to understand that some of the rough is going to come with the smooth in that process.
Speaking of the smooth, season high, picking up a trophy?
League Cup final, yeah, I think that was crucial for them. Imagine if they got third and no trophy. Like, we would be thinking about things a little bit differently, maybe. I know that's Champions League football, but it's still qualification.
I know, but also, like, people will diss the League Cup trophy when it's not their team winning it. A trophy's a trophy at the end of the day. There's 3 domestic trophies to win, and there's the Champions League. That's a finite number of pieces of silverware you can get your hands on. So, to get the League Cup. And I appreciate the formats, and it's the last League Cup that Chelsea at this moment are able to win, given they're not going to be in it next season. Not so sure about that format myself. But the point is, I agree that the way teams come in when they're in Champions League and they get in late, maybe not the most difficult trophy to win, but it doesn't really matter. You've got silverware.
My slight argument against that is that in the FA Cup, you have teams that come in the fourth round, sorry. Yeah. And so every
slightly
team,
different to quarterfinals.
Yeah, but it's because it's a smaller competition. I think there are ways that you can use that competition and change it to make it better for everyone involved. I don't think it means scrapping it, and I also don't think it means taking the 3 top teams in the country out of it completely, because I do wonder about the marketing side.
I bet Subway's like, wait, what? You're taking who out? Anyway, that is a different conversation. Side point. Let's move on to the next team number 8. Who have we got?
We have got West Ham.
West Ham. West Ham finished 10th. They finished 9th last season. They were 36 points off the top, 37 points off last season. They had 19 points this season, 20 goals for, 45 goals against, and of course a managerial shift in December time.
Yeah.
Rita Guarino coming in January. Finding a little bit of form towards the latter points of the season. Maybe Rita's ideas kind of landing a little bit. I do find it interesting when people think everything changes when a new manager comes in, and then you kind of compare and contrast previous seasons like Everton, and it's pretty much
I think the thing with West Ham this season is their first half of the season was slow, and I think my main thing is that, like, a lot of people were saying, they're not very good. Actually, they were creating chances, and they were getting in positions to score goals and they just weren't scoring them. And that's a mental side rather
It's so
than
annoying
like a
as well.
tactical side.
When you're watching it, you're like, Jesus wept.
I remember there was one game, I can't remember who it was against, but Asai, Ueki, both missed absolute sitters to put themselves like 2-0 up. And then before you know it, the game's out of your
Was it
control.
Tottenham at the beginning? No?
No, I don't think so.
But even that's an example. They lost 1-0, didn't they, in the beginning?
Yeah, that was a penalty, wasn't it, to Bethany England? So I think it was... I do think when we were watching them play Manchester City the other day, there's a lot more structure about them. They look like they're confident. I think they did turn a corner after the new year. And I do think Rita's brought in a bit more energy maybe, or maybe just because it's a natural thing when a new coach comes in that you have that new bounce. But to get those 2 back-to-back clean sheets before the City game, to get those 2 wins as well, I think that serves them very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, give me their MVP.
MVP. I think there could be 2.
I've asked you for 1, but go on.
Well, I'll give an honourable mention to Riko Ueki.
I thought we were going to go the other way around. Okay, go on.
Because I think she's absolute class. I was on the touchline watching her at City the other day, and the way that she commands the air, but also like links up play and provides such a good link up with everyone. I think she is underrated, chronically underrated. So
she could have been the underrated player, perhaps.
And she had a good Asia Cup as well. So I think if they can hang on to her over the summer, that would be crucial. But the one I'm going to go for is Una Saren.
Oh, okay. We're on a different page. Go on.
Who are we going to go for?
I thought you were going to say Vivian Asai.
No.
That's fine. Crack on. And then I thought you were going to say Una Saren as the under... Anyway, you carry on.
She could be also under... I mean, all of these players could be underrated, to be honest. I think that she's been ever-present for West Ham in that midfield. She drives their intensity from that midfield area. She's such like a terrier of a player in terms of her pressing ability. And she scored that fabulous goal, which was my goal of the season. So, yeah, I just think she's come on leaps and bounds, and she's proven herself to be completely integral to this West Ham side.
Now, who's the underrated player?
Oh, God.
See, you've shot yourself in the foot here bringing in extra players. God's sake.
Should I go for? Let's go Stel Cascarina.
Okay, yeah.
I think her coming in January has done wonders to that back line. They've become a lot more solid. I think she obviously knows Rita quite well from her time in Italy. I wonder if they're going to make that loan permanent. But she's brought a lot of class to that back line.
And you also have to factor in they've had some injuries to do with, like Katrina Gori, who's obviously left now at the end of the season, but like she was out for a while. Shalina Zadorsky was out for a long time, the captain. Like, you know, they were brought in Katie Zellum.
Yeah,
that
Katie
big get.
Zellum.
Okay, season low. Would we say that kind of early period where they ended up getting rid of Rianne?
Yeah, I think the first half of the season, I think there were a couple of games that they couldn't see out. There was the Leicester game when Shannon O'Brien scored late to equalise. There was the Liverpool game when Mia Enderby scored late.
You'd just be like, it's just...
And
if you're a West Ham fan, you're just like, Jesus Christ.
It was just that kind of... Even if they got themselves in front in a game, you never quite believed that they were going to be able to hold on to it.
Yeah. And it didn't help that like some of the players that had been on fire and form towards the end of last season weren't really in form this season. So that didn't help either. Okay, season high.
I think the last few weeks of the season, to be honest, I think the wins against Aston Villa and I can't remember what it was. Liverpool. Teams in and around them that they would be looking to get points off. Kind of getting that over the line is key.
Also in games that the other team very well could have won, so that they were able to actually hang on to that
and to
that
score
lead.
late as well against Aston Villa. Like those 2 goals come in the last 10 minutes. Yeah. It's just shows maybe a change in the character.
Okay, the hat's back. Your team of the day?
Tottenham.
Alrighty, definitely doing better than the men's team. Okay, Tottenham this season finished 5th. Last season they finished 11th. They were 19 points off the top this season. Last season they were 40 points off. They finished this season with, I think, a points high for them of 36 points. Am I right in saying as well they beat the number of wins they've gotten in a single season as well, potentially? I think.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Goals for 35, goals against 38. Obviously a very good season for Martin Ho. Brought in plenty of new players, plenty of Scandi players. And I think it's like watching a young, like, 19, 20-year-old in their first season where you're like, oh my God, once they get their feet under the table, they're going to be so good. That's what they're like as a team.
Yeah.
Like, you can see what they're trying to do. Obviously have had some rough patches, which is going to come under a new manager when he's bringing in new ideas and stuff. But for you, MVP. Now, remember the other ones you have to do, so don't go shooting yourself in the foot by naming multiple players.
MVP.
Pick one.
In that team, I'll go Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Just because I think she's been brilliant. 20 years old, coming to the league for the first time, like a couple of the others that we've mentioned. She's in our team of the season. I think she's brought a lot of calm to that back line. I think the 2 games that she wasn't there for the Asia Cup really showed when she wasn't there. Alongside Claire Hunt, she's created quite a good partnership. And I think there's so much more to come, and I'm excited to see it. I think she's very technical, but also very mature and willing to learn as well. So I think it's an exciting time.
Sophie will have a piece coming out about that on WSL Football.
When I eventually write it.
When you eventually write it. That's interesting. I would have gone for her as underrated because I don't think she's talked about enough. And I would have gone for Olivia Holt maybe as her MVP. But who is their underrated player for you?
I'm going to go Matilda Vinberg.
Yeah.
There is a stat out there, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was something about her creating the most chances. I think no one really talks about her because you've got the likes of Sinja Gapset, the Olivia Holt in the team, who is brilliant as well. Creating chances. Katinka Tamberg, I think, had a really good start to the season, maybe tailed off, but probably has a lot more to bring.
But also, and I know she won't like me saying this, but she's such a weapon off the bench.
Yeah.
To have players like that for Tottenham to be coming off the bench going, great, this is either we're going to stay at this level or go higher, which I think, that's something that teams in the mid-table have struggled with, is bringing that quality off the bench, and she is absolute quality.
But I think Vinberg flies under the radar quite a bit in terms of that attacking setup and who takes the limelight in that team, and I think she's been very, very crucial to the way that Martin Ho plays.
Season low.
This is going to sound weird, I'm going to go with the 3-3 draw against Manchester United.
I mean, that's not weird, you were 3-0 up, lads.
That's what I mean, like letting that lead disappear, just absolute crushing, I think.
And I think as well, given the history between Martin and Mark, I'm sure that would have been an extra bitter pill to swallow. Remind me how they did the second time they played, because wasn't it similar where Tottenham went in front and it was a draw? And
it was 0-0.
Oh, it was a 0-0?
Against United, yeah.
It was, okay.
But Tottenham just dominated every single
Yes, and couldn't put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
That's a theme, I think, this season, is actually some teams, I'm not looking at you, Manchester City, but some teams really struggled in front of goal for periods where you're creating so many chances and literally just put the round thing in the rectangle.
Piece for these young teams on these journeys, because they create the chances, they create opportunities, and it's just about becoming more clinical with them.
Season high.
I
think the season is a high.
The whole season, yeah. Draw with Arsenal, probably quite a big high for them, just in terms of that. I know they then went and lost it at the Emirates, but that's probably quite a good.
That was a mad game as well, though.
Yeah.
5-2, do you remember? Was I floor manager for that? Bloody hell, I was.
Yes, you were.
That was a lot.
So I was writing, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess one of those. But I think the season as a whole has been a pretty
hitting some records.
High.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up, 3 more to go. Choppity chop.
Manchester City.
Gosh, how do you think their season has gone?
Terrible.
Do they have a low? Manchester City finished first compared to 4th last season. They were 17 off last season. They absolutely smashed it this season. They were 4 points ahead from the nearest rival. Finished last season on 43 points, finished this season on 55. Goals for, 62. Goals against, 19. The second meanest defence in the league? I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, unbelievable season, new manager, perfect way to start. He's been, as I've said it multiple times on many media fora, that he's been a super addition to the league. I really like him, got a lot of time from him, and he's really good with the media, and a seemingly very calming presence, which I really like. And I like how he involves his play. He doesn't come across as someone who's like, it's my way or the highway kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? I think he's quite inclusive of like his players and how well they play and where they're good, and he kind of allows them to play at their best. Now, probably the hardest question you're going to answer in either of these two podcasts is, who is the MVP for Manchester City?
I mean, that's so hard.
I was being serious. There's bloody loads of them.
I mean, Bunny Shaw, come
okay.
on. Like, yeah, there are honourable shout-outs across the team, but Bunny Shaw is just ridiculous. Like, 21 league goals in a WSL season. The only player to score over 20 goals in three different WSL seasons. She is at the peak of her powers. They are crazy if they let her go.
She said she wants to stay on Sky at the FWAs. She said, I've always said I want to stay.
Yeah, and she said, Manchester is my home.
Put your hand in your pocket, lads.
Crying out for you to offer her the deal that she wants.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't advocate for changing your transfer policy for many players, but I think when you have gems like Bunny Shaw, you do everything to avoid her going to an opposition, a rival as well. So yeah, she's incredible. I think she obviously is known for her goals, but I think the work that she does across the pitch is really, she drops deep, she works at the back, she defends well. She's often their last line of defence in terms of corners and stuff.
There's nothing I love more than when City are playing a game like that. You think of like the Liverpool game, for example, and obviously a lot of pressure on her to get the goals, but there's nothing I love more than when I then see her popping up on the line and she's clearing off a defensive corner. It's like, that is all-rounded.
Yeah, she is the best striker in the world right now.
Can you pick out an underrated player?
Underrated.
Kind of hard, because they've a lot of, majority of that team have had very good seasons and we've been singing about them for...
Yeah.
Maybe they're not so underrated, but maybe didn't get the plaudits.
I have got accused of this because of the team of the year.
You didn't put her in the team of the year, you only put her on the bench.
I put her on the bench. I think she came from university last summer. This is her first season in professional football, and she's taken it to it like a duck to water. She scored her first WSL goal against West Ham last weekend, and she's adjusted so quickly to the league, and she's been absolutely stellar in their centre-back. And I only didn't put her in. I do think there are a couple of things that she can work on in her game, like in terms of City can get caught at the back, but minuscule, like
fine margins.
Yeah. She very much is right up there.
And also, it's our opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a season low?
Losing to Arsenal at the Emirates.
Yes, that'll be it.
Ending that 13-game unbeaten streak.
Yeah.
I think they were very disappointed that day. Andre, when I spoke to him after, because I was doing the floor managing and I did the interview afterwards, and he was very like, we didn't get it right. Arsenal were kind of the best. And I know there was like the thing around Lauren Hemp being taken out by Mariona and whether she would have gone through or whatever, but they were the second best team on that day. Arsenal were very good, and I think that's a great thing about Andre. He's never too high and he's never too low. He's literally like, we weren't at our best today. It's fine margins, move on to the next one. Yeah. And I think that calm mentality is key.
I'd also say maybe the Brighton game, purely because it opened the door ajar for Arsenal and it would have led to a lot of squeaky bum time moments for them. Season high, the whole season. Did Chelsea win?
The Chelsea win, the two Manchester derby wins. I think the win over Arsenal at the Joy Stadium, I think there's a lot that they can be very proud of.
But I think that
season.
Chelsea win, because obviously they started the season, lost to Chelsea, and then went on this incredible run. I know Arsenal then knocked them off that run, but like the manner in which they defeated Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, an element of that was also that Chelsea were not great. But that's been the change for them this year. Actually, do you know what?
But like that performance from Carolyn that day was just ridiculous.
I was going to say, do you know what? The Liverpool game, where they won it at the death, I just thought there was a difference that you saw in them that you might not have had last season.
I did the 5 games that made Man City season.
Great piece if you want to read it, actually. Sophie wrote it, she's got her Substack.
But like, it really made me realise how many late goals there were and how, that game against Arsenal at the Joy Stadium, 87th minute goal from Iman Benny.
That felt like a...
The Liverpool game, the London City game, Bunny Shaw at the death.
Yeah.
They were just like some really key late moments that shows a character of a team, that when you're not at your best or the ball isn't going in the back of the net for whatever reason, you keep going, you have that character, and it's that mentality. It's what we talked about with Chelsea for so many years.
Yeah.
They might not always have been at their best or things might not have been flowing brilliantly, but they always had that mentality to find a way to win.
Absolutely. Next up,
Brighton.
Brighton, which is where we're going today.
Yeah.
Another team that are improving. I'd like to think improving, perhaps not necessarily from the table point of view, but this season they finished 7th. Last season they finished 5th. They were 34 points off the top last season, but only 32 points this season. 32 points last season. If you remember last season, they were 5th for bloody ages. And they were like welcoming people to come and take the spot, and they just didn't want it. Finished on 26 points this season, 28 points last season. Goals for 27, goals against 28. A bit of an up and down season. I think the review of their season has been slightly coloured by
the end of it,
the recent performances, as opposed to the overall season where they've, I would say, been more in games, but not getting the goals or getting the points out of them. I think, so that would be frustrating. And they're, I think back to that bloody, one of the longest games of my life this season was Brighton-Liverpool, where neither side wanted to score a fucking goal.
Literally the dullest game.
And there's been games like that where just the football hasn't been good. And then there's been games where the football has been great. So MVP, I think I know what you're going to say.
Fran Kirby.
Yeah. Do you need to explain why? Go on, for the listeners' benefit.
Fran Kirby, just because she's magic. I think she changes that team when she's in it. And I know Kiko Seke is brilliant. She gets the goals. But I think everything comes through and around Fran. And she has the experience as well now to help those around her. But yeah, she's just class, isn't she?
Underrated player?
I'm going to go with Maisie Simons.
Okay.
Young, stepped up as captain. She is the club. She leads by example. She's taken a lot on her shoulders with that captaincy, I think. And we don't often talk about her because she's been in and around maybe the seniors for a little bit, dropped down to the under-23s, hasn't quite been able to make her mark at international level. Yet. But she's an absolute quality player. She can be completely versatile in that midfield area as well. And I think this is the start of, well, she's been going on a few years now, but like a real good marker for her to push on next season.
Season low, I think we have to factor in as well that Brighton had to deal with some difficulties off the pitch when Dario Vidicic's father, Rado, died. And he'd obviously been a big part of the club as well. And, Dario was out for a little while. And I think they navigated that difficult period, both on and off the pitch, really professionally and really well. And Dario has spoken really well about his dad and obviously how much they miss him, but the impact that he had on football generally, particularly in Australia. So I imagine that was a particularly difficult period for them. And to then think, I'm moving on to their season high, that they've gone and gotten to an FA Cup final is incredible.
Yeah, I think there's little surprise that happened around the time their form dipped.
Yeah.
And I do think they had a really rocky February, March period where they just couldn't get results or get through games, and it was the time of that Liverpool game. Like things weren't clicking together. I think they were very clearly missing a number 9. They have done all season, and they need to fix that in the summer. But yeah, that will be
To get to the FA Cup final.
I think the high is definitely the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To get to the FA Cup final.
But to get to that final while playing the matches they had to play. Yeah. Arsenal, Man City.
To beat Manchester City. To draw
with Arsenal.
Arsenal.
You were there.
No, I know. But they played Manchester United as well.
Yeah, they did.
To draw with Manchester United. I think to round off the season against kind of the top teams in English football and getting results against them is crucial.
And it will give them lots of confidence going into the FA Cup final as well. Right, unless I've done things wrong, our last team is...
Everton.
We were up there.
We were.
Wednesday.
We were. Finch Farm.
Yeah, chatting to Yaya Roragali. That'll be coming out in The Guardian. Bloody hell, just follow all of Sophie's work. It's great.
I just need to, I got to the end of the season where I don't want to write anymore, and I've suddenly given myself so much work.
You've got quite a bit to get through. But also, when it does come out and you're reading the lovely piece that she will inevitably write, have a look at the lovely photos, because yours truly got them. We got to do team up for that, didn't we? That was nice for The Guardian. Okay, sorry, I digress. Everton finished 8th compared to last season's 8th. They were 32 points off this season, 36 points off last season. Finished on 23 points compared to 24 last season. Goals for 25, goals against 37. Another kind of up and down season for Everton, another team that got rid of their manager, which kind of surprised everyone because it was like the January transfer window closed and then they were like, oh, and one last outgoing is our manager, and kind of surprised everyone with that. Maybe not hugely surprised that they got rid of him, although I still probably would have given him to the end of the season.
I am about the timing.
But that's what I was going to say, the timing was really weird. All right, can you give me their MVP?
Their MVP.
Got a couple you could choose from.
Courtney Brosnan. That was easy, isn't it? Absolute class. Goalkeeper.
Won Fans Player and Players Player of the Year last night at their awards.
Yeah, incredibly popular character as well, I think, within the setup. Signed a new contract just after the transfer window closed in February. And it's crucial that they keep hold of her. But she is brilliant. Remember that game against Chelsea, but there's so many games where she is absolutely crucial to their backline.
And you don't often see it as well because they are a team that concede goals and they are a team that don't pick up loads of points. But I do kind of, if she wasn't there, bloody hell, we might be talking about a different team.
Special mention to Ruby Mace.
Well, underrated player of the season?
Not underrated.
Oh,
everyone's talking about Ruby Mace.
Even their own social media team, which I thought was really weird.
Ruby Mace has been brilliant and is not underrated. We all know the quality that she has. I am going to go with Honoka Hayashi.
Yeah.
Ever present in that midfield area. She is just like an absolute workhorse, just never stops running. Got a series of goals for them to pick them out of, sticky situations. And no one really talks about her, but she's incredibly technical as well as her work rate. And they are lucky to have her.
Season low, probably when they got rid of Brian before, in the lead up to that. They had that incredible, I don't think this will be the season high, maybe it is when they beat Chelsea. They broke that
it's probably
long run. And then 2 games later he got sacked.
Yeah. No, there was a winter break in the middle.
Yeah, but still.
I think, season low, probably, the sacking of Brian. Kind of the uncertainty around the club. I was just looking at the results there. There weren't any terrible ones, apart from maybe the West Ham one away.
Yeah.
They lost. But they just could never get into a run of winning games. And while they performed well against the big teams, and, I think a couple of players have said this, it's that consistency. They can bring their energy against big teams and then they kind of falter against the teams that they're expected to get points against. I
think as well in the beginning of the season they really struggled to put together 90 minutes of football, and they'd have a shit half and then they'd have a brilliant half, and in some cases it was too late for the brilliant half, the damage was done. But season high then I guess was probably ending that Chelsea winning streak, that
beating Chelsea
Barclays WSL account.
Kings Meadow. Also
enjoyed that rip.
I think it was also the 4-1 opening day win.
Oh, sure.
Against Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, okay, I'm really hoping that that's all 12 teams. I've written 12 teams down. There are no more pieces of paper in the hat. I'm sure you'll let me know if I've forgotten someone. I don't think I have. That is our kind of brief rundown of the season. We've now got, even because it's not really over, Charlton taking on Leicester in the playoff tomorrow. What are your thoughts on this? It's the first time having a playoff game in WSL versus WSL 2. How do you think both teams are going into this? Leicester, of course, played a little bit later, played up until last weekend. Played against
Everton. 96th minute winner from Everton.
From Maz Pacheco, that's right. So that would be a bit of a gut punch. But how you think, neither team are exactly flush with goals.
Both have been in pretty poor form in 2026. And it's about who can pick themselves out of that mentally, I think. Obviously, we all know about Leicester's run. They haven't won this year. They've been on a terrible run. I do think that they can take things from that 3-1 loss to Chelsea. And also, even though they lost it in the 96th minute, to get minutes in the legs after 2 weeks and to hold Everton to a draw until that point. Probably things to build. It's about picking out the positives and performances now. Player for player, Leicester City have the better team. They have the more experience. They have Rachel Williams, Emily Van Egmond, Hannah Kane, Shannon O'Brien, Sam Tierney. A lot of experience in WSL football. A lot of experience in knowing how to pick themselves out of bad situations and get the job done. Charlton are playing at home. That's going to be really buoyant for them. I think the fact that they've got another opportunity as well is going to probably pick them up a little bit. But I do worry about their form this year. They're very good defensively, but they don't score that many goals.
Let me enlighten you. So across 22 games, Leicester have scored 11 goals and conceded 52. Obviously, arguably against, very high quality opposition. compared to Charlton, who've played 22 games, they have scored 31 goals and conceded 21. So I think Charlton are a tight unit to break down. I don't know how effective Leicester are at breaking down. I have a slight concern about going to extra time, which will be annoying because I feel like that might be...
So Charlton really struggled against teams in the WSL 2 that kind of were more defensive. So they lost to like Sheffield United, who will have like a more defensive block against them. And we know the way Leicester City play, they defend pretty in an organised way. I think that first half of the season especially, we saw a lot of organisation. They know how to defend their box. They are very kind of compact in that. And yes, it hasn't gone to plan in the second half of the year, but I do wonder whether Charlton will struggle with breaking down that when they don't have the biggest firepower in the world. And like they scored more goals, but arguably against a kind of a lower opposition. So, I think it's going to be interesting. I still think Leicester have it enough to bring themselves through. I think Charlton, it would be interesting to see what happens if they do or if they don't get to the WSL.
We will chat through all of that next week. We will also look ahead to the FA Cup final, which is happening next weekend. And we will also be covering World Sevens. We will be doing all of the games. We'll be doing a special podcast series around the tournament with World Sevens. So do keep your eyes peeled for all of that because there's plenty of chat coming. And if you're following us and subscribed, you won't miss any of that content. Have a good weekend. We'll chat to you next week.